Breaking news from Luxor. After nearly 2 decades of conservation, the tomb of one of Egypt's greatest kings has officially reopened. And I'm going to tell you why this matters, where it is, who discovered it, and what treasures lie inside. Stay with me till the end because I'll share what we know so far about how you can access this tomb, admission details, and a little known secret about my own visit on November 2nd coming up, including how you can get exclusive footage right here. So, what tomb is reopened and who made it happen? The tomb of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, KV-22, has just been reopened to visitors. What is KV-22? It means Kings Valley 22. They assigned numbers to the tomb based on the sequence with which they discovered them. So the ones way back open since antiquity, 1 to 10, that sort of thing, and then the later ones all the way to KV-62, Tutankhamun, and there have been a few since. So this is the first time in decades that the public has had access to this particular enormous and very important tomb. It opened on October 4th, 2025, so that's just a couple of days ago. The restoration was a major collaboration between the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities, of course, and Japanese conservation teams from Waseda University and UNESCO, of course, gave support. So this team spent years stabilizing the walls, cleaning the pigments, conserving murals, and even piecing together fragments of the sarcophagus lid. It was a very destroyed tomb in a very remote location, actually. This isn't just another little tomb reopening. This is the reopening of a royal monument belonging to one of Egypt's greatest rulers in all 3,000 years of history. So, first discovered the tomb. Although local people probably knew of it earlier, the tomb was first recorded for the West by the savants, Napoleon's expedition. They noted the entrance, but they didn't do anything with it. Then in 1899, a French Egyptologist, Georges Daressy, cataloged it and assigned the designation KV-22, so the 22nd tomb that officially received a number. Later, around 1905, when Howard Carter was basically a freelance archaeologist. He was working on the West Bank, and he actually entered the tomb while working under Theodore Davis. And when he did so, he documented fragments of the shattered sarcophagus, looked at any funerary objects that were around, very few, damage. Anyway, this was almost 20 years before Tutankhamun fame. And yes, Amenhotep III's tomb had been known since antiquity and entered in antiquity and robbed of everything. His body, thank goodness, was hidden away with the other royal mummies and was rediscovered in the late 19th century and now resides at the beautiful new National Museum of Egyptian Antiquities in Cairo, NMEC, in the Mummies Hall. So you can go see him there. It's in a very bad state of preservation. So, where is this new tomb? Is it in the Valley of the Kings? That's what we're led to believe. It's not. It's actually in the Western Valley. So it's a little bit of a walk if you're in good shape, maybe 10 minutes. It's down another valley. It was called the Valley of the Monkeys. It's a quieter, remote branch of the royal necropolis, and it is associated with the kings of the late 18th dynasty. So only a few tombs exist here. The tomb of I, which I believe is still open, it was last year, and very interesting place to visit. So it's not part of the Valley of the Kings proper, the Eastern Valley. It's in the west. So what about this Amenhotep III, and what makes him so amazing? He ruled between 1390 and 1350 BCE, ruled from about 11 years old, and he ruled during Egypt's golden age, its age of incredible wealth, diplomacy, artistic brilliance. He was unlike Thutmose III or Ramses, known for their incredible battles or expanding the border, this man expanded the border, expanded the prestige of Egypt through diplomacy and relationships with the neighboring people of the Mediterranean and the Near East. So he was called the Magnificent and even worshipped as a living god. not a small ego. He made diplomatic marriages connecting Egypt with Babylon, the Mitanni, Anatolia, but he never allowed an Egyptian royal to marry into the foreign nations. Interesting. His reign produced the most statuary in Egyptian history, including very well-known colossal pieces like the famous Colossi of Memnon, the gateway to his enormous mortuary temple, and also those giants that meet you when you enter the Old Museum in Cairo. Also, he is a prominent fixture at the British Museum. Many of his heads were brought back in the early 19th century. He built so many things, incredible palaces at Malkata. He expanded Luxor Temple. He worked at Karnak. And he shaped really a visual legacy that his son, Akhenaten, would later inherit and subsequently try to change everything, change the art, change the religion. Yes, Akhenaten was actually Amenhotep IV, changed his name and went on to transform everything for a short 17-year revolutionary period. So, visiting his tomb is visiting the height of 18th dynasty power. What is incredible about the tomb itself? So, here's some of the highlights. It's one of the largest 18th dynasty tombs, cut deep into the western cliffs. Typical of 18th dynasty tombs, we don't have very many of these early tombs. It is a bent axis. That means it zigzags. The later tombs of the 19th and 20th dynasties are straight because they were running out of room in the mountains and they kept running into other tombs. This one curves. The main burial chamber is huge, with side rooms for Queen T and his minor queen Sitamun. And you've got a ceiling with starry skies and traces of celestial decoration. You've got fragments of a sarcophagus lid pieced together so you can get a sense of where he lay. Though not fully decorated, the 18th dynasty tombs were not fully decorated, not like Seti, not like the later ones. Only certain rooms were fully decorated. So, and some of the scenes through flood damage and other damage are just destroyed. But those decorations that remain are so beautiful, featuring the king with gods like the Lady of the West, a goddess Amentet welcoming him into the next world, Hathor, Anubis, and all sorts of underworld texts from the Book of Coming Forth by Day, the books of the underworld. And because his tomb was closed so long, the visitors will see, it will feel so incredibly fresh, untouched by tourism. So what about tickets? If you're going there, how can you get there? It's a little murky right now, the information. So right now, it's not part of the ticket admission that you get when you visit the Valley of the Kings. It is separate. There might be a special ticket or extra admission. There is right now for Seti the First and Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun is about, I think it's about $25 extra, 10 to 25. Seti is even more, 40 or $50. It's gone up. It may be limited by special permits. I'm looking into how we can get in on November 2nd. You have to make arrangements in advance. But I'm very excited. I will be going to the site in early November, November 2nd, and I'm going to get inside it. I'm going to try to. So stay tuned to see exclusive footage on this channel from inside the tomb. Subscribe, follow this channel. I'm going to be traveling through Egypt, showing you what's new, the Grand Egyptian Museum, the new sites, and what everything looks like in October and November 2025. So if you want updates on this tomb, footage of the sites, all the latest from Luxor, stay tuned, subscribe, and watch for my report from the Valley, not of the Kings, of the monkeys. And thank you so much for